It's time to start Dishin Days with your hosts Tony Moore, Michael Mattis, Justin Lee Hareld, and Araceli Aviles. And now, let's dish.
Hey everyone, happy Sunday. We are Dishin Days here to give you a full recap of the week's worth of Peacock's award-winning, current 11-time Emmy-nominated soap opera, Days of Our Lives. You can follow us on social media at Dishin Days on Facebook, at Dishin Days on Instagram, and Dishin Days on X and Threads. And if you're watching us on our YouTube channel, please do us a favor and hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and do hit the notification bell so that you are notified whenever we have or whenever we upload any new content. You'll be the first to know about it. And if you're not watching us on YouTube, you can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio as you go about your daily activity. Yes. And also, you can check out our former co-host, James Lott Jr. on his page, JLJ Media on YouTube, where he handles the rest of the soap block. It's General Hospital, Young and the Restless, and Bold and the Beautiful, in addition to his original audio dramas that he does. And that's JLJ Media on YouTube. And stay tuned for later in our show where we will be announcing the nominees for our Dishin Days Awards. So we have, we think you're going to be very pleased, and we have a few surprises. So stay tuned all the way through the show. But yeah, moving on with the show, what was our initial thoughts? What do you guys think of this week's show?
It was a decent week. Kind of picked up later in the week as it tends to be. Yeah. As it tends to have been doing lately. But it was a pretty decent week. Got some movement on some things. Got some, new conversations, new people interacting with each other, and some new characters, or maybe one new character.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, one new character.
Yeah. Hi, Mama Moore.
Okay.
Mama Moore is in the chat.
Yes.
We don't know. No, I'm kidding.
Yes, and Tony, sorry, forgot to. Tony is out today. We may see him next week, or maybe a little bit sooner than that. But stay tuned.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We'll see. And then, So in regards to this week, I don't know what the heck I was watching on Monday and Tuesday. I'll say it.
Those two episodes, I kind of was easily distracted. So I concur, Araceli.
News Central. Basically, if I can watch the show while I'm doing laundry, and not have to look at the screen, there's a problem.
Yeah, you kind of have to, even if you're doing other things back, you kind of have to check or stop to make sure you're staying focused or keeping track with it. Yeah, that's usually a good barometer.
Yeah.
For me, I like this week. I think it was not an info week, but I felt like we're getting the very beginnings of other storylines or new storylines that are coming into play. So I kind of like that. But yeah, it wasn't the most exciting, but it was ooh, it's getting me interested or intrigued. So
and then towards the end of the week, we got some oh, okay.
Uh-ohs.
Some oh shit. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Good. Yeah, so let's get started. I do not have any of our day's tchotchkes here. Michael, do you have your
my notary stamp? Yeah, I have my notary stamp. Oh, that's a small one. Here,
I got nothing.
I feel like we all need to get something so that we all have it. We all have something when we
here
just co-host.
Where's there? Do I have a piece of here?
Stamp it.
You
become a notary.
This is really so depressing.
Go for it, Justin.
All right, it's now time to start. Dishin Days. Yes. All right.
One day. Okay. No, I have to put that out there. This year, by the end of this year, and I'm going to say this on air so that our audience can hold us accountable, because otherwise we won't ever do it. This year, we have to pre-record that.
Yes, I say before the summer's over.
Yes, we have to do it.
Yeah, so we can. we've run this bit into the ground, I'd say, so we need to move on to something.
We had a loose invite to the new Salem studio, so if that ever comes to fruition,
yes,
we do it there.
That's true. Yeah. More to come on that. Yeah. That might be actually a really good way to incorporate that into our intro. Yeah,
I love it.
But yeah, we are starting off with our first storyline, which is Kristen gets around.
I was thinking this week, I was like, wow, we really haven't. I can't remember when the last time we have had Kristen doing Kristen things and just like stirring, just stirring, and then she goes over here and just stirs a little more, and then she comes back, stirs a little more, and she's really getting her hands in multiple cookie jars this week.
So front and center. And this is, of course, Kristen involved Wendy, Stefan, EJ, Alex, Teresa, and a little bit of Brady and Rachel thrown in there. So what did we think about Kristen this week in her various machinations?
You know, I gotta say, I do feel like the show is more complete when Kristen is doing Kristen things. As annoying as they may be.
I know.
I'm like, okay, yes, Kristen, because she was a force years ago. She's been a force in recent times. Yeah, I don't agree with a lot. I don't agree with a lot that she does, but that it's interesting to watch. Makes for compelling TV.
Yeah. I always like seeing Stacey as Kristen. She just has such a command over that character and gets her, and I think she makes it compelling to watch. Even if we get frustrated with Kristen sometimes, or we're like, at her schemes or her whatever she's up to, it's still good to enjoyable to watch.
Is it weird that I actually approved of everything that Kristen was doing this week?
Oh, really?
It's so well. Insofar as it is Kristen being Kristen.
Yeah.
And to me, it felt like she wasn't necessarily taking things too over the top. Like she was right in her element with all the characters. Even with Rachel, I felt like she did that good balance of actually being a good mom this week in the way she talked to Rachel. Because we always talk about how bad of an influence Kristen is going to be on Rachel and how Rachel is going to grow up to be a holy terror. And I still believe that. But the way that she did talk to her and explained things to her, I felt like, okay, at least she's not being inappropriate with her child. Like, yes, there's a scheme behind this, but at least she's not like putting that out there for her kid. Not getting too into the weeds about it. Still respecting that, this is a child and you shouldn't do that. And I didn't feel like she was inappropriate or pushing too hard in any of her agendas this week. It felt like she was kind of like right in her wheelhouse.
Yeah, I actually found that conversation with her and Rachel to be kind of refreshing. Just like you said, she wasn't scheming, she wasn't manipulating Rachel. She was kind of being really honest with her about sort of their situation with Brady, and so there wasn't anything really I feel like the underhanded stuff was surrounding Rachel, but when she was talking to Rachel and explaining things to her, she was pretty straightforward, and we were seeing Kristen like just really be a fair parent there, which is, we don't always get to see that.
Now, in terms of all the people around her, it was weird because it felt like Kristen was right in her element, and then everybody else, I don't know what y'all were thinking. As soon as Kristen walked through the door, Wendy should have had her antennas up like, I don't know you. Why are you in my house?
Yeah, a little bit. But Wendy's, dealing with her own stuff. So maybe, that was distracting her from being as defensive as maybe she should have been.
Yes. And EJ, if he doesn't see Kristen coming a mile away, then he deserves to be thrown out as CEO.
He's totally underestimating her.
Yeah.
Alex clearly just hasn't gotten something in a while.
Oh, Alex was just horny.
Yeah.
And Kristen, dude. So Chris, I'm like, this for me on the Kristen side of that situation, that came for me at least kind of out of nowhere, unless I missed something. Like I never really felt that she had like any kind of actual attraction to him. Did I miss something?
No, not really. No.
because in the way that scene was presented, it was like Kristen, that was Kristen's MO, was to get him over there and to, you know, get a little something for herself too. But then part of me was like, was that her? Like, because, you know, she got him into the bedroom because it was more private, but I mean, or it's this, or it was that. Kristen's just, you know, Kristen and Alex were just horny and it happened.
Truly, yeah, that was it.
I feel like it was a little more Alex, though. I feel like I actually believe Kristen when she said, like, come over here, we're going to hang out in my room, and then, like, Rachel will find us in the morning. I actually believe that she meant that platonically. Like, she wasn't actually, I felt like she wasn't actually propositioning him to actually sleep with her. And I felt like Alex sort of was, like, horned up, and then she sort of went with it. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't feel like that was her plan, was to actually going to sleep with him. I thought she was truthful to say, like, we'll get in the bed, you stay over tonight, Rachel will walk in and find us. And I felt like Alex took it to the next level when he was like, well, why are we faking it? Why don't we actually do it? And then maybe, like, her antennas went up. It was like, okay, you know what? It was
the Kristen's intent was a little confusing to me, just because of, she was kind of putting it out there that it was supposed to be like platonic, that it wasn't something sexual, whatever. But then, like, the way that she, like, you know, she closed the door and kind of, you know, backed into it, I was like, oh, she's almost trying to, is she trying to, like, seduce him? Or
okay.
But then again, like, if she was, it kind of came out of nowhere. So
I don't think there was any I don't think there was any intent behind it on her part. It really was just spur of the moment. True, like we're over thinking this. It really was just that they were both horny. That's it.
Okay. It happened.
That's it. Now, I don't know what effect this will actually have. I don't think this is going to have the effect that they think it's going to have. Depending on how Rachel finds out, because Brady's not going to be jealous at all.
I don't think so either. Or you know what? I take that back.
I don't think that Brady's going to be jealous. I think that he will have something to say about it, depending on what exactly Rachel walks in on. Teresa, on the other hand, I'm getting confused about who's playing who here.
I actually think Brady might get a little jealous, because then it's real now. Because I think up until this point, he's seen them as joking around, or not joking around, but he's seen them as sort of scheming or playing a game. But I think whether Rachel tells him or he walks in on them together, or, like, I don't know, Alex comes downstairs in a robe or so, or, like, however Brady's going to find out, I feel like that it may turn things a little bit for him to be like, oh, is it, you know, are you guys playing around, or are you joking, or is this developing? I don't know. I think he actually might get a little jealous, actually.
I don't. I think it'll be all about Rachel. But what I do think,
he'll say it's all about Rachel, but, you know, Justin made some points here that made me think about Brady and his history. And I can totally see him, like, all being like, no, no, I don't have feelings for Kristen, but then suddenly she's with someone else. I can totally see Brady flipping and then being like, well, now he, because that's Brady. I can kind of see it happening.
I think he would only flip depending on the effect of what Rachel would see and what his fear of what Rachel would be exposed to. Now, in terms of history and you know, basically his investment in Kristen as a person, he's not really invested in Kristen as a person right now. He's invested in Rachel. Who he is invested in is Teresa.
Yeah.
And I think he'll have a reaction based on her reaction.
Yeah, I can see that too. I mean, I think it's not an either or. I think he definitely has lingering feelings for Teresa. I think they up that sort of this week in their interactions. But I also think he still there's something there with Kristen too. So I think with him, it can go either way, honestly. I think it's more it's more feasible, I think, for him to see himself with someone like Teresa and giving that a second chance versus giving Kristen a second chance. But I still think the feelings are there for both women.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Even if he doesn't want to admit it yet, I feel like they're there.
Yeah, I mean, they may always be there for both of them. He has children with both of them, but I really just feel like he's adamant that Kristen is is still a toxic person, still a toxic presence in his life. Whereas he's seeing the growth in Teresa. The conversation they had this week was just so beautiful. And I feel like he's in being her cheerleader. He's getting back to, once upon a time we did have something really great.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was a little confused. It wasn't until the end of the when they brought Alex into the mix. I was confused what Kristen was doing with the whole field trip thing. Because I was like, oh, she's volunteering, or it seemed like she got roped into volunteering, and then she's like, I'll call Brady. First, I thought it was her saying, get Brady involved so she can chaperone with Brady, but then it was, no, get him to replace her. And I was like, well, what is the point of that? And then I realized it's so that Rachel and him could be together, so Rachel can basically give him this information. But it took me a minute to get that. I was like, okay, what I'm not understanding how these things are connected, but yeah.
That's how her Machiavellian mind works.
Yeah, I know. Right?
She always plays a lot like there's always something behind her intent. She didn't just happen to like volunteer for that field trip and then oops, change her mind.
Yeah. I was like, girl, that was like 10 steps to get here. Okay. Like, I'm following along.
Well, and what always gets me with this is like, it's like, but what if it doesn't happen? What if Rachel doesn't come in? What if like what if you forget I don't know. Like, what if it just does, she's counting on it happening. Like these people, they always count on things happening a certain way. And it's like, I don't know. Shit doesn't go that way for me. I don't know about y'all, but you know what I mean? Like I'll plan things out to a T and something always fucks it up.
It'll be the one day Rachel's like dressed downstairs, like screaming upstairs and doesn't burst in the room or something. Yeah.
Or Rachel, she'll just say, fuck it, I don't have permission. I'm going anyway.
I'm going to sign my own. Yeah. She's already forged the signature anyway. So
she's already figured out how to take an Uber by herself. Like, yeah.
The Kristen Wendy thing, now we're getting her like really going forward with the helping of Stefan to sort of
so just I need a recap on this part for a minute. She's helping Stefan in the interest of getting into Demira Enterprises and taking out EJ.
Yes, with Stefan's support. Yeah.
Why would Kristen do this when Stefan? Because didn't Stefan like frame her for child abuse essentially a couple months ago?
Yeah, I guess it was supposed to that, or to like just put it to the side.
Like, did we forget that? Did we forget that?
Yeah.
I mean, if that's what we're supposed to go with, fine.
Yeah.
Or maybe she's putting it aside for her own interest, which would be very Kristen as well, to be like, oh, I've forgiven you, even though she's not, and she's actually planning on booting both of them out and leaving them both out to dry, and her having all the power.
Yeah.
And now she's trying. We were talking last week about, so like she's trying to help. Okay, she's trying to help Stefan get Gabby out of prison by figuring out who really killed Li Shin.
Exactly.
Who there's a question mark of, there's always a question mark when these people die now, whether they're actually alive or not, because anyone can come back to life.
Yeah.
But assuming he's dead, who really killed him? And so now she's gone to as part of helping her figure that out, as part of helping him figure that out.
You're on track.
She went over to Wendy's and offered to open a scholarship under Lee's name.
Yes.
How's that going to help anything? Did anyone connect those dots, or was I just simple. Like?
Here's a simple answer to that question: is that she made a deal with Stefan that if she helps him get Gabby out of prison, he will take the shares that he has and vote them her way. Because remember, he still has shares in Damaris. It's not like he can just put in a good word. He's going to put in a good word, and he's going to vote the shares that he has, including the ones he took from her.
Does he have those shares, though? Didn't he give them to EJ, and EJ hasn't given them back yet?
I think he's supposed to get them back. That's the thing he worked out with EJ, that EJ would give him his money, and I think that's where we left off. So
basically, he puts the short story is that he votes for Kristen to be input as CEO, and Kristen's basically doing this to grease the wheels with the Shin family, so that Mr. Shin votes her way and appoints her as CEO of Demera over EJ, which is why she did the whole thing with Wendy. It wasn't just about
it wasn't about figuring out Gabby's killer.
It was buttering Wendy up so that later on, when Wendy has a conversation with her father, she can say, "Oh, Kristen came over," and then Kristen did follow up with a phone call personally to Mr. Shin saying, "I had an idea," blah blah blah. So that's the short answer.
No, that makes total sense. I was missing. I did not connect those dots. For me, it was about how. For me, it was like Kristen's intent is to figure out who really killed, if she doesn't already. We talked about that last week. We think she might know. Already. I was missing that intent of like greasing the. Excuse, Dr. Araceli has to take a phone call.
I think it's twofold. I think it's ingratiating herself to the Shin family so that she has the possibility to become CEO, but also I think getting close to Wendy to get clues, I think, too, of what happened.
And Kristen knows that Stefan doesn't have his shares, right?
I think we need
EJ hasn't given them back yet.
That. I think we need clarification on that. I'm actually not quite sure.
I was under the impression that EJ had not fulfilled his part of their deal about giving him, because he did. It wasn't really it was like a word, like a take his word for it kind of promise that he would give him back.
Yes, but then remember Stefan pulled the "I'll tell Nicole that you knew about the drugs" sort of thing. So I think that's what that supposedly is. I believe we're supposed to infer that pushed EJ over the edge to give Stefan his stuff back.
But we did not see it happen.
We didn't. No, there wasn't like a scene where he signed over everything back to him. But I think we're to infer that when Stefan said, "Give me my stuff back, or I'll tell Nicole that you knew about the drugs." I'm assuming. I think we're supposed to infer that he gave him back everything.
Isn't that when EJ said my blackmail trumps your blackmail?
No, that was before.
Or was that a different one?
No, that was before this one.
Okay, I'm convoluted. Okay, so we're gonna assume that Stefan has his shares back and can actually give them to Kristen.
Can vote,
Okay.
Yeah. I also think too, it's the idea that not just his shares, but also when he was against EJ, when him and Gabby sort of, remember how like half the family was on EJ's side and the other half was on Stefan's side? I think he's also sort of promising, I can still get those people to rally around you, kind of a thing. That's what I'm assuming, because his shares are, I mean, he has just as much shares as anyone else in the family. So I think it's his shares plus I hope you get the other side of the family's shares, kind of a thing.
Got it. Okay. Well, bless their hearts. I hope it all. Let's see how this unfolds.
Yeah, I'm curious because it's funny to see, like, whenever we see like two people who don't really have scenes together, I like the Kristen Wendy dynamic kind of a thing. And Wendy's sort of she's still like going through her stuff, so it makes an interesting dynamic to have them. Because also I think, like we said, Wendy usually would have seen this coming, but because she's dealing with her own stuff, maybe like her guard's down or she's not.
Her vulnerability is high because of because of her PTSD.
Yeah. So
I don't know.
And the fake wedding, the vows.
Jesus.
I'm waiting. I don't know. I'm watching this is the part of the storyline that I am actually watching very closely, because I do, like I said last week, I have a theory about what's actually going on behind all of this, but I could be wrong. So I'm just I'm waiting for the long answer to be revealed.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that was Kristen getting around and stirring up trouble. So
literally and figuratively.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see how far she gets. But yeah, moving on to our next top storyline. This one is Paulina's problems. Of course, Paulina, EJ, Nicole, Abe, Johnny, Chanel, and a little bit of Chad and Kayla thrown in there. Ooh, this is interesting and also tiring. I had these two thoughts come through. When it was like the Paulina EJ stuff, I was like, okay, we've done 3 storylines now of this over the past of EJ wanting to be mayor or like trying to be mayor. I was like, are we getting a retreat of that? Which I don't really want, quite honestly.
No, he's just being EJ.
See, I think there's more to it.
No, there's more to it than that now. Yeah. Now that Paulina's come after him, now there's going to be, you know, an EJ vendetta.
Yeah.
And
but in terms of wanting to be mayor, no, I don't think so.
I think that's what he's going for. That's
I think his vendetta is going to be taking the mayorship from Paulina. I think they set that up pretty well. We could be wrong.
Hopefully it's not.
Maybe Nicole seems to be his horse tranquilizer that he sometimes needs, but now she's gonna be, you know, distracted, being the Barbara Walters of Salem. So
more like Nancy Grace. Yeah.
The Nancy Grace. The Paula Zahn. The Andrea Canning.
Oh God!
Definitely not the Keith Morrison. No one can be Keith Morrison.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm going off track.
Yeah.
But
But
yeah, and I think it's been set up now what will be Paulina's undoing. Mm-hmm. It hasn't been, you know, not really said out loud, but it was inferred all week about, you know, what happened last week with her being interacting with people while radioactive.
Yeah.
And I mean, to EJ's credit, he's not wrong.
Yeah,
no, he's not, but
he's not wrong. That's the thing is like the whole thing of like, oh, the whispers around town. Like, I don't think the average everyday citizens of Salem are gonna, you know, knock her for what she did. Now, do I believe that he got calls from local from the fire department, from local city officials? Yeah, I believe that.
Yeah, I can believe that.
Oh, okay.
I believe that because when they said she commandeered a snowplow, they flat out said it. She was driving the snowplow.
Yeah.
So what aggravates me is nothing infuriates me more is that when EJ gets like this and he has actual ammo against the person. You know what I mean? It's just like, because now it's like, oh, he has a point, damn it.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. You don't dish it if you can't take it. The minute you turn, and that's why Abe was such a successful mayor for so long, because at his very, very, very worst, he still wouldn't use his position of authority to hurt someone. And I'm thinking, like, what's the worst possible thing that he went through and he still didn't do it? That was probably would have been way back when Thea was shot. And he came after JJ, but he pulled himself back. That was probably the worst and probably the biggest potential that he had to go sideways and to use his position of authority to abuse it, but he didn't. He pulled himself back. Paulina doesn't know how to pull back from anything.
No.
I'll say this too, as much as I think this is where the story is going, that EJ is trying to undermine her and get her out. I also wonder if this is going to be a switcheroo and this is going to be like an Abe storyline. Is this a way to get Paulina out and get Abe back in? Because I feel like they've been dropping those hints like the past few weeks about like either Abe like coming to her rescue or him being an advisor, or I think it was this week when Abe ran into Kayla and he was like, "Oh, sorry, I wasn't reachable. I was covering something for Paulina." Then EJ mentioned that people were the town is saying, I want the same Mayor Carver back, which would be Abe kind of thing. So I'm wondering where, even though I think this is where EJ's going, I wonder if that'll be the twist, that all the storyline is to really get Paulina out, get Abe back in, and make some sort of switcheroo there.
I mean, potentially. Actually, Rayburn just made a good point in the comments that Abe did lose the mayor office twice, once to EJ and once to Jack. Now, the EJ one, I think that there was a discrepancy in terms of stuffed ballots or something like that, if I'm remembering correctly. Yeah. The one with Jack, that was just bad politics. That was people being up in arms about something.
We want to forget that one. We want
to forget that one.
We want to act like that didn't happen. Yes. Except, however, it would be true to life.
Exactly.
I mean,
it would be the same election repeats.
But it was course corrected. My point to that being that my point to that being that Abe still outlasted all of them. Yes, he lost twice, but within like a few months he was in the office, and he's held that office pretty consistently for the last 10 years, 10, 12 years.
Yeah.
Has it been?
Yeah, so that's where I'm thinking it's going, even though I, like I said, I think EJ is trying to undermine her and get her out. I wonder if that'll be the really main plot of this or focus of this.
I think it'll be like he'll try to take it, he'll start to win, and he'll start to like be perceived as the front runner, and then Abe's gonna come in and either convince Paulina to like I don't know, and I'm a politics dummy. I don't even know if this could happen, but it's a soap opera. Maybe it could, where she backs out of the race, he goes into the race and defeats EJ, or if he puts himself into the running without Paulina knowing, like for the better of things.
Yeah.
And that creates tension between that and that.
I mean, there's no way that he could. I mean, there's no way that he could keep that from her, because the minute you submit your name on a ballot, it's public record. So.
Well, right, but he would do it without telling her first. Instead of like having that conversation, like, look, babe, you're losing. I need to come in and do this. You need to back out. I'm going to go in.
Yeah. And we'll keep it as a family kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. And I mean, it's funny because she shot herself in the foot here on several fronts, because EJ's gonna use this against her. Now he has given Nicole the idea to go after her in the press, and Nicole, to her credit, she doesn't want to do it, but at the same time she can't exactly argue against EJ's point that what Paulina was doing was wrong. And if Chad is truly serious about making the paper upstanding and impartial, then he has to run with the story. There's no way around it. Now, they can be nice about it, but there's no way to not just lay out the facts and let the chips fall where they may.
That part rubbed me the wrong way, not only just because it was EJ sort of scheming and kind of using Nicole in her brand new job that she got 5 minutes ago. But I didn't even have before she's anyway. Yeah. I think the fact that the past few months we've been talking about Nicole just not being herself and just sort of kind of like just going along with her husband EJ and the stuff with Holly, it kind of reminded me of that. And I felt like we just got out of that trap where I feel like Nicole has been back to herself and like standing up for herself and having agency. And that scene just rubbed me. I don't know. It was, for me, it just like rubbed me the wrong way of like, girl, like don't let EJ manipulate you. Like, I think Araceli, you make a good point. It is a good story, and it is a story that is viable and probably should be explored, really. But yeah, just the fact that it was fueled by EJ and then passed off to her, and she kind of did a little bit of pushback, but not really. And it was like, oh, girl.
But she gave herself an out. I feel like she gave herself an out with Chad saying that I'm not sure I'm the right one to cover this story. And Chad, to his credit, is setting boundaries and saying, like, with our last name, I can't cover the Damaras. You can't cover the Damaras. Yeah. But that doesn't mean that we ignore news in this town that has to do with the Damaras.
Yeah.
So that's why they still have Everett.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he'll put it on him.
I did like that part of it, that it wasn't, I'm going to do the story, or she didn't insist on doing it. I like that. And I like that Chad, sort of set some boundary. And I do like that dynamic I always have of Chad and Nicole. And now she has joined.
Yeah, I feel like, and I do feel like Nicole is right that she has needed purpose in her life, and she's right. She has always worked. She's worked several different companies in Salem. She's had several different jobs, and yes, one of them was a reporter. So why shouldn't she contribute and make a valid contribution to her town and to her own life?
Yeah.
That was the part of this week that I was probably the least interested in, which is why I really don't have anything to say.
Nicole's job hunting.
Nicole, I was just like, that's nice, good for her. And then I'm like, okay, yeah. Do
now,
what you gotta do, girl.
Yeah. And to people's point that maybe Nicole got the job through nepotism, I'm like, well, how do you is that any better than how Chad got the job? How Xander got the job?
I know, like
how Leo got the job. Come on.
Chad even made a comment about how she had more. Oh wait, who made the comment about that she had more experience than Chad and Xander did when they came in? Was it Chad? Chad made it, so he gets it.
Honestly,
she had some experience. They had none. Doing that. They had corporate experience. Running a newspaper, they had no journalistic experience.
Yeah.
So let's be real here.
But hey, at least we have Goody Two Shoes Everett, who's going to be there to, keep things in line and, make sure people respect the press and that they don't break any rules.
Yes.
Oh, Lordy. Yeah. And then I guess it looks like Chanel is actually starting to feel some side effects.
Yeah, we have Chanel and Johnny here in the mix too. And this, I'm thinking though, this might actually be the Paulina downfall, maybe. Like the EJ stuff is like, really, is that really going to bring her down? But this stuff might, if there's
I infected my own daughter. Yeah. That's not good.
Yeah.
At all.
No, it's not. And if we know EJ, he is going to take it and run with it. And that's what I'm saying. He has a legitimate point against her now.
Yeah.
See, the part that I'm most interested in is like the family dynamics now, because now Chanel and Johnny are back together. They now are newlyweds. Chanel is not.
They found themselves an apartment down by the river.
Yes, down by the river. Chanel's not going to take too kind to this. Johnny is not going to take too kindly to this, but also have a loyalty to his dad. So there's, who knows what kind of tension this is going to create.
And I don't think he's going to be as happy with Paulina if he finds out that Paulina infected and poisoned his wife.
Exactly. So
Justin's right. He's going to be on EJ's side, and Chanel.
She could
stick with Paulina.
She'll stick with Paulina, but it won't be easy.
Illnesses,
she'll be conflicted, but I think ultimately she'll stand by.
Yeah.
You should stand by, exactly. That's your mama. I know she made a mistake, but it was in she saved your life still.
And then
she saved her life when she was missing for an hour.
For 2 minutes, yeah.
Well, that could be an interesting twist though, if Chanel isn't in. We get, Chanel's more on the DiMera side
goes against her mom and goes, DiMera's.
Maybe that's the conflict.
Very interesting, actually.
Yeah. We'll see. I'm excited about what this story, now that this storyline I feel like is getting going. I feel like there's a lot of possibilities and like avenues to explore here. There's like a lot of family dynamics.
Who's going to run Sweet Bits?
I don't know. I still think someone needs to Photoshop a picture of Paulina on a snowplow. Who wants to volunteer to do that?
Not it.
God, it should be Salem's like ad for City Works, like our mayor can run this machine or something, you can too, or something.
Oh man.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's an interesting one to look forward to. Paulina and possible Paulina versus EJ or Paulina versus the DiMeras. But yeah, setting up for our next major storyline. This one is Maggie setting up Konstantin, right? And this is, of course, Maggie, Konstantin, Teresa, Xander, Sarah, John, and Steve.
There was a moment this week when she had, I almost said Terrence because someone said Terrence in the chat room. I was like, wait, Konstantin. When she had Konstantin sign the prenup, the way she was acting, it just like it struck me as different. And the way she walked over, slowly, put it in the safe. And then when she turned around and gave him this, she just gave him a look that made me think, I'm like, she's doing something. She's calculating something. And we've been saying all along that like Maggie wouldn't do this. Maggie is, and I just, now I'm starting to think that maybe there's another motive like now, and now she wants to go back into Titan at the same time. Maybe she's kind of trying to align something for herself, and I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence now that she's actually doing this for the reason, she's actually doing what she's doing with Konstantin for the reason she says is that she feels guilty for what Victor did to him. I think she's trying to catch him, honestly.
I'm hoping
I think she's trying to catch him for Victor.
Okay.
I think she's figured out that he is not good or not a good guy, and that I don't know. I just feel like there's more to Maggie's actions right now than we know.
I'm hoping that's the case, but I actually read that scene a little differently. I saw it as like she put the file in the safe, and I was like, oh no. I read it as Konstantin is going to steal the prenup before it gets filed.
But could she be setting him up to do that? I don't know. I just got on this kick after that scene where I'm like, oh, Maggie's up to something.
Yeah, I'm hoping that's the case. I just read it differently where I thought like, oh, is that trying to say like he's going to steal the prenup or like before it gets filed, before the marriage or something, and then it invalidates it. That's what I was thinking. But no, I'd much rather it be your theory that she's onto something here. Yeah. What do you think, Araceli?
I think that once I will believe it when I see it.
Okay.
I'll believe it when I see it. You're getting sober, Araceli, this week, so I don't know. I got nothing except for I'll believe it when I see it. If I get too invested in this, I've already said my piece on how yucky I think Konstantin is. Like just everything he does gives me the creeps.
Yeah.
Anna, yes. Almost. That's my point. The look on Maggie's face. There was something about the look that she gave him where I was like, oh. And I don't know if that was, something that was scripted, if it was something Suzanne Rogers did, if there's no meaning to it whatsoever. It was that moment. And I remember there was a moment when Emily O'Brien was still playing Gwen, where she was giving a look that made that kind of clued us in that she knew what was going on with Dimitri and Greg, or Dimitri and Leo. And so now I kind of I don't look for that stuff, but when I notice it, I'm like, oh.
I hope that's the case,
And we've been saying all along that Maggie wouldn't do this. As a good-natured as she is, and how you might see how she would do something like that for someone, it just doesn't track this time around. And so maybe there's a reason for that.
Yeah, we need some redemption for Maggie. So I'm hoping that's the case, and she's more aware of what's going on than she's portraying. So.
I just want all of these other people to start working together and get this guy out. John and Steve, they have their own history with the guy, but they don't trust him.
John and Steve don't know what the hell's going on.
They still don't trust him. Alex doesn't. Alex doesn't trust him.
I trust Maggie to defeat Konstantin before I trust Steve and John to defeat Konstantin.
Good luck with that.
Well, I say this. I think you might be right about that, because I feel like Konstantin was he was sowing some bad blood between Steve and John there. We got a little bit of, I don't know, that's what I felt like John was maybe looking at him like, oh, Konstantin, you might have a point. Steve, you really did set this whole thing. Like, maybe this is more your fault. Maybe you should be the guilty one.
He was intentionally trying to pit the two of them against each other, and it looks like it's working. Yeah. So
I don't think it's working.
Again, I'm putting my chips with Maggie Horton Kiriakis.
Yeah.
She'll get him out of town before they do.
I put my chips on Xander. You know why? Because if all else fails, Xander is just going to revert to type, and he's going to kidnap the guy and ship him back in a shipping crate.
And everyone would be like, okay.
Yeah. Okay. no, yeah,
Totally fine with that.
Yeah, no one will miss Konstantin. I do like the idea of Xander and maybe Alex. This is the first time we saw them slightly agree on something or have a
They have a common enemy now.
Yeah, so maybe we'll get a little Xander and Alex teaming up. Maybe they'll be the saviors with Maggie. I don't know, since I feel like John and Steve are going to be preoccupied with other things, or
maybe Xander and Alex like form some kind of bond.
Yeah.
And then that's when the bomb drops.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
One isn't, and then that creates more conflict.
That could be interesting. Yeah, as they're just getting along or working together, being family. Yeah, that's a good. Yeah, that might just be. Yeah, so we will see if this eventual marriage from hell actually goes off.
Oh my god!
And we still have the ex-wife in the mix someplace that is looking to be found, hopefully by
someone said something about the ex-wife being, I feel like I heard somebody mentioning that the ex-wife was dead this week, and then I was like, no, I didn't think she was dead. They said she was disappeared. She had disappeared.
Yeah, there's been no trace of her.
No trace
after
of her
they're divorced.
So we don't know if she and then that's right, I had a thought about who. Okay, no,
I did too. Yeah,
I think lots of people are having the thought you're having. Yeah. But I said last week they slightly addressed that early on, but I think they could retcon it to the thought you two were having. I think so. We'll see if they do that. But yeah. So that was our main story. Those are our main three storylines. And before we go on to our tidbits, we just wanted to do a reminder to follow us on social media. Dishin Days on Facebook, at Dishin Days on Instagram, and Dishin Days on X and Threads. Also, if you're watching us on YouTube, of course, do again hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit that notification bell so you are first aware when we upload new content. And if you are listening to us, or if you want to listen to us, you can check us out on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. And last but not least, go check out our former co-host, Mr. James Lott Jr. on his YouTube channel, JLJ Media, where he covers the remaining rest of the soap block, General Hospital, Young and the Restless, Bold and the Beautiful, in addition to his original audio dramas. So on JLJ Media. Yeah, so now on to our tidbits. The first one we are starting with is Bats in the Belfry. And this is the Bobberett saga with Stephanie, Jada, Rafe, and a little bit of Harris and Ava mixed in there.
We're getting clued in that this dude doesn't know who he is from 1 minute to the next, and I haven't figured out. There's a theory that it's multiple personalities. I'm not sure if I buy that yet.
Well,
or if it's just general like schizophrenia or something. Clearly he's got a mental issue, but
he has a mental issue. But here's the thing: if it is multiple personalities, I would actually like them to portray it the way that it actually exists in real life, because the DID storyline is so overplayed in soaps, and oftentimes it's played to the most extreme case that it actually doesn't look like that in the majority of cases. And they're doing that right now in Young and the Restless. So if they were to do it like that way, that exact way right here, it's just overkill. What it actually is kind of what it looks like right now, which is a personality disorder, which is basically what you said, that he kind of doesn't know who he is from 1 second to the next. And I'm not talking like each unique personality. I'm talking about like he's kind of like split screen almost in the same body.
And
not
I feel
like there are people talking in his head like an inside out, like it's like it's kind of like split screen.
And they do show kind of they make a point of showing kind of when he goes from one to the other. So it's interesting. I want to see where it goes. But I think I like Bobby more than Everett.
I know, maybe we'll see.
Say that.
I have to say, I actually do like the way they did it this time. I like that it isn't, like you said, Araceli, it's not the sort of TV version or movie version of it, where like there's some big trigger or we're seeing something that, you know, tips him from one edge to the other. It's very slight and very subtle. And you could tell it literally is all happening in his head. And you're sort of kind of going on that journey where you're also a little bit discombobulated of like, what's going on here? Who is he right now? Does he fully remember each one? Is he conscious of each personality or, you know, coming through? And does he have a memory of the last one? That sort of thing. So I think all those questions are interesting to kind of figure out and answer. But yeah, I like the interesting way that it's playing out now, and that is it the Jada stuff? Is all this stuff stirring it up? So he's having not an episode, but like a flare up. I don't know how how the terminology you would use for this, or you know what I mean?
Episode.
Because it seemed like up until this point this week, we haven't really seen that. We've seen him explore the fact that there may be another side, and him getting close to that, and him sort of shying away from that and being scared of it. But we've never seen him actually be two people, which we're seeing now. So yeah.
And there are people. Go ahead, Araceli. Sorry.
No, you'll finish with that.
I'm just saying there are people out there that are under the impression that this dude's going to end up being the real Nick Fallon.
No,
I'll be out. Y'all. We had a body and everything, didn't we?
Yeah.
For me, it's not off
they
the
drug
table.
that raggedy bitch down to the river. Like
no, and that was. And for people who say that, I have to push back on that. That was completely different. Without, you know, Nick was one person, one personality. He was also, we saw his decline. That's the thing. There was no, oh, this is a different person kind of a thing. Like people that, like maybe some members of his family think like he changed into a completely different person. But that's true in the sense of he declined. He had a clear decline in his mental health. He had emotional trauma. He had physical trauma, and that manifested into a really hateful person. We saw him hidden decline, but it was him.
I'll say this: I'm hoping it's hoping it's not Nick, just because it'll be a retreat kind of a thing. But I will say there are some things there that I think clue you in that there's a possibility there. There's the DID stuff, which he could have gotten from his mom. His mother Jessica suffered from DID. There's the mental illness in the Horton family. There's some clues there that aren't necessarily Nick centric, but also could be applied to Nick that I think are interesting if they did go there, even though I don't necessarily think they're going to go there. So yeah,
I don't think that they're going there. I think this is something different. I will say, it's such a shame because Blake Barrett is such a nice guy. And he just knows how to play creepy really well.
He does.
He knows how to play arrogant too. Because I really like when he gets on his high horse about shit, I'm like, shut up. Even if he has a point, I'm like, shut up.
And it's so funny to think like, I mean, you know, talking about Nick now, the original Nick was such like quintessential nice guy, dorky, geek, and to go from that to what we later saw would become of Nick is like literally like a completely different character to now what we're seeing him play in this Bobberett sort of storyline. So yeah, I mean, kudos to Blake. So
yeah, for sure. For sure.
Next up in our tidbit, we have this is Clyde's Little Book continued, our favorite story. Which is, of course, Ava Harris, Wendy Tripp, and a little bit of Stefan and Roman. This goddamn fucking book that took 8 days to go and get, and now it's taking.
Wow.
The best part of this story for me this week was Roman. The Roman part of it. That was the only investment I had. Was she gonna let Ava actually, like that whole arc that, you know, you weren't going to ask me before Ava moved in? Well, no, she started asking my sister, so she can't live here. And then him having the change of heart about it eventually, I was like, okay, that was nice little, you know, wrapped up in a bow and whatever. That was this looking for the Clyde part of it that still won't go away. I'm just like, whatever, find it, don't find it.
I love the Roman stuff. I'm so glad that they finally addressed that. I was like, you can't just have Ava move in and everything's fine. Like you have to say something and you have to address it.
And I did actually like the interaction between Harris and Roman, because I felt like that was a really respectful conversation on both sides, where it could have been like petty and basically like the way Kayla was with Ava. Not that Kayla doesn't have every right to be angry at Ava, but I feel like that was really petty and really like not taking into consideration all of the effects of, not taking full stock. It felt like she was just aiming direct hatred at Ava. Again, she has every right to, but still petty as hell. Whereas the conversation that Roman and Harris had was very straightforward, very respectful, and Harris was a grown up, Roman was grown up. I kind of liked it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I didn't love the Kayla interaction. I was kind of like, really? This is. And I also felt like they were kind of not getting along, but I felt like they kind of settled into a normalcy with their family of like, of the idea of sort of like we're sharing Tripp, like, he has a
modern family.
To his mother. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. This sort of modern family co-parenting thing. And one thing I did love, in addition, not to sort of redeem Kayla a little bit, I loved when she was talking with Roman. And she said something like "my boys," or however she was saying it.
Yeah,
she was saying something about Stephanie, and then she said also something about "my boys." I was like, "Oh, I like that little thing thrown in there of like she does consider Tripp her son and that sort of thing." So, but yeah, the Kayla, Ava stuff was a little out of nowhere, but she's also something off of the. She's also under the impression that Ava somehow strong-armed Steve into. Breaking Clyde out, which I feel like no one knows the whole story about they tried to double cross Ava originally, and that's what started her sort of double cross of them, which is I feel like is not getting talked about.
Go back into retirement, Steve and John. You don't have to work. You don't have to work. Your wife, you ain't helping nobody. Yeah. If you were helping people, I would say go for it. You're not helping anybody.
Yeah.
Did the other part?
Sorry. No.
Sorry. No, I just briefly. The other part of this whole scenario that I liked was Ava and Jada's interaction when she found Ava found out that Jada was moving in with Rafe and started talking about the stove. Yes. And I actually thought this was going to be your GIF, Araceli, of Elia Cantu and the look that Jada gave Ava after she was like, And I was like, oh yeah, she clocked that one pretty quick.
I like that pettiness.
Well, see, like that was the right kind of petty because it wasn't. I feel like it wasn't. It was a cheap shot, but it wasn't necessary. It wasn't like over the top.
Yeah,
that's how you do a dig.
Yep. Yeah.
Where it was kind of like, it was like a little dig. It was just like a reminder. Hey, I used to live with him too. Kind of a dig.
I used to make him lasagna.
Yeah, and I feel like
your lasagna can't beat my lasagna.
Yeah, and I feel like that was, and I feel like she doesn't have anything against Jada. She was just kind of annoyed.
I think she even asked, "Oh, do you cook?" Yeah. Did she ask her that? Do you cook?
Yeah, right. She was just a little annoyed with Jada. That was more of a dig at Rafe. Truly.
Yeah.
That's good.
Did you guys think that Ava was gonna ask for her job back? I thought that was gonna be the in to like searching for the book when her and Stefan were talking, or Stefan caught her, I believe. I thought like that was gonna be the thing she was gonna use to like get into the restaurant or to find the book.
I didn't even pay attention to that conversation.
Yeah. Also, are you guys picking
up?
I feel like they're starting a triangle here.
With who?
An Ava Harris Stefan?
No, not Ava Harris. I think we're getting an Ava Stefan and then another person, potential Gabby triangle. I feel like that's what they're setting up here.
Oh.
We know Harris is leaving. And then it seems like they're concentrating on the fact that Ava and Stefan slept together and that at least he keeps thinking about it now. We've had several scenes in the last couple weeks. So I'm like, is this going to be like, or maybe is this going to be not threesome? Is this going to be a triangle? And also the fact that Gabby still doesn't know that they.
Yeah, I think that has the potential down the line, but I don't think that we'll see the fruits of that for at least a couple months. That could be the direction that they're going. I just don't think that it's going to be happen for a while.
I was just thinking, we know that Steve Byrne, of course, is not going to be on the show very much longer. So I was like, okay, I feel like they're setting up for the next sort of wave of the storyline. But
and I'll just say this, for whatever exit they give Harris, I hope it's not like he comes in on Monday and says, like, I took a job somewhere else, bye. I hope they give him like a proper, because I know that like fans have mixed feelings about him and the character and his presence on the show, blah blah blah, but he has been on a very considerable amount of time, and he has kind of put his, in my opinion, put his kind of stamp on the show, and I feel like it's deserving of a proper exit.
I think
and please don't kill him, please don't. No.
I think you know what it is. I think it's just difficult. It's always difficult to start up a new character from scratch, especially when you're bringing in a character that has no or minimal ties to people in Salem, that isn't somebody's daughter, somebody's ex-wife, somebody's something. It very rarely does it happen where it works out that way. Like the only character in my recent memory that they've done that with was Sloane, where she was a character that had zero ties to anyone. She brought her history with her to Salem, and then later on we find out that her parents had a history with Chanel, but in terms of like familial ties, there were zero. And Harris hadn't been in Salem since he was in high school. So I think that they had potential to do more with his character, but it's hard. It's hard when you're talking about an actor like Steve Burton that is a veteran soap actor. He just doesn't have the ties to Salem.
Well, and it's going to be hard for viewers to accept a new character that's essentially coming in between one of the show's most beloved couples. Like, he was seen as, a Bo and Hope threat. And so when you start off like that, it's hard. But I think he's done, I think he's done a great job. Like, I'm not gonna pull any punches here. Like, I think he's done a great job, and I think we kind of went off on a tangent here, but no, I think like he's like I said, he's made his mark. He's interacted with a lot of people, and he's deserving of a good exit.
It's reflective of the actor that Steve Burton is, that he came in with very little, and he tried to make a very decent character. So I give him kudos. I will always be a Steve Burton stan, because he's a stand-up guy. He's very respectful in every job that he has ever had. So I just, I wish him well, and I get to watch him. I get to watch him elsewhere, so I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I just turned into like he's not even gone yet. We're like, I agree. I think he's done such a great job, and he's a vet. I hope that they don't kill him. I hope they sort of leave it open ended. So you never know what happens in the future. Who knows if he maybe back on days in a couple years.
There's so much going on in the soap world right now. Thank God. Thank God. It's reflective of the all of the Emmy selections this year. They're bringing in soaps that are on streaming platforms. We're seeing a brand new soap being launched in January. We have to, if nobody else is going to champion us, we get to champion ourselves as a soap world. So yes, you never know what's going to happen down the road.
And last but not least, for our final tidbit, we
didn't talk about Wendy and Tripp leaving town.
Oh, sorry.
FYI.
Yes.
FYI, Wendy and Tripp are leaving town.
Bye.
I was like, okay, are we gonna get a stop at the airport like we did last time and a comeback in 5 minutes? Like,
I think that they're leaving. I do. It's the right time.
It would be the right time, but it could also be the right time for just, a little rest, like they do sometimes with characters. And bring them back. I would like to see them come back. I would like to see them kind of come back and reset from this that they've gone through.
I agree. I don't think they need to leave for long. I think they just, as characters, they need a break. It was very clear to me that Wendy's mental health needs a break.
I think this is the perfect time for them to leave. I don't know if they're leaving. I feel like something is gonna stop them, something big, and I think the something big is a certain person coming back.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Salem. I mean, we'll see. Yeah, we have no.
We don't have a crystal ball timeline.
Yeah. So, yeah, I do think though this is the perfect time to like, not get rid of the characters, but put them on the back shelf for a few weeks.
Give them a little rest. Yeah,
exactly.
Rest and reset.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not very important. Do not ignore your mental health, people.
No, hard in Salem, but yeah. And last but not least, we have the teen scene, which is Holly Tate, and we have a new character. I'm forgetting her name now.
I don't remember her name.
Oh God, what was it?
She's cute.
Let us know.
She's cute, and we saw that she's going to be from the anniversary pictures that they took. That there's good that it looks like she's on contract.
Yeah, Sophia. Looks like they're expanding the teen scene a little bit. Hopefully we'll get a few more people, maybe, or a few more kids. We'll see.
If Sophia's last name is Petrillo, I'm done. I'm done. I put up with Sloane Peterson for however months she's been on. I put up with that. I put up with that wink wink, not putting up with another one.
Oh, Ron's he's gonna do it just to spite you now, Michael.
But no, the interim writers are introducing this character. But I guess down the road he can, do whatever he wants.
If she doesn't get a nickname before then, Ron will. Yeah, it'll be his first line of business coming back.
We'll be like, oh yes, her last name was Smith. No, it's not. Petrillo.
Yeah, I'm just really interested to see how they expand the teen scene because Eric Martsolf told us that they were going to kind of sort of sprinkle in a little at a time. It wasn't just going to be, you wanted to get all these Sorast characters. They were going to start sprinkling in the teens. And so it seems like that's going to start happening as we progress towards summer.
Yeah. Yeah. And so far she seems like a fun character. She fits in. I think she has chemistry with both Holly and Tate as the group. Yeah.
I'll just call her New Mimi from now for now.
Oh no, not New Mimi. The shade. Yeah, so that was it for all of our storylines this week. And now it's time to get into our favorite part of the show, which is our segments. And we are starting with...
Caption That.
All right, this week's Caption That photo comes courtesy of everybody's favorite moment this week. Heard some stuff about it earlier, but no. From Alex and Kristen. And this week's caption appropriately goes to Queen of Damaras on Instagram with her caption, Rachel, please don't lock your cousins in the seat. I totally messed that up. Caption that moment. I apologize.
I was going to say, wait a minute.
That was an error on my part.
I'm looking like, wait a minute. Hold on a second.
That was not the photo. I'll have to try to pull it. It was of Chris. Okay, so picture this. Speaking of Sophia on the Golden Girls.
You want to come back to it?
No, I don't want to come back to it. I just want to get it over with. Picture it, Demira Mansion, 2024. Kristen and Rachel are talking about how Brady has to take Rachel on the field trip versus Kristen. Picture it. This week's caption goes to Queen of Damaras on Instagram with her caption, Rachel, please don't lock your cousins in the secret room when you play hide and seek.
It's a cute one. That's a funny one.
Damn. Now,
if you want to see the picture, go on our Instagram.
Yeah, now that you said it, it's gonna happen. What Queen of Damaras, why would you say that? Why would you say that? Because now it's gonna happen. I can totally see it happening.
Oh, she's locking someone in there in the next year. Definitely.
No, yeah. There's no way.
I accidentally uploaded the photo that we used for the thumbnail and not my caption that photo. Oopsie, oh well.
And that was...
Sorry, Queen of Damaras. But thank you for your caption.
Yes.
Caption
Dishin Days.
And next up we have...
Those were the days.
All right, everyone, I'm taking you back to April 26, 2011, where we had one of our favorites, Miss Tamara Braun, come onto the show, not as Ava Vitale, but as her original character, which was Taylor Walker. She is the daughter or the youngest child of Faye Walker and Paul Mendez, and the youngest sibling of Nicole and Brandon Walker. So yeah, this is when we had Tamara on. She was on for a short stint. She wasn't the original actress who played Taylor. I think this is like the second or third time they brought her back. Whenever they bring in this character, it's very like short. It's like they introduce her, she's on for like a few months to a year. She leaves, she come back, and I think this is either the second or third incarnation we had of Taylor Walker as Tamara Braun. And I remember she had fantastic chemistry with Ari. And this actually, her playing this part, which was always supposed to be short-lived for the time that Tamara played, God, I keep forgetting, Tamara played Taylor. That's supposed to be Tamara and Taylor. It was short-lived intentionally. This is actually what got her the role of Ava Vitale, was her stint as Taylor. And the powers that be were just so impressed with her as Taylor. And even though the initial one was short, they thought, oh, let's figure out a way to bring her back, but bring her back as a different character.
Okay, so then that means that she played her originally because she started the role of Ava in 2008. And this is a storyline that took place in 2011.
Or maybe she came on as Taylor twice. I don't know. She was Taylor originally.
Okay. So then she was Taylor originally.
Maybe, yeah.
Okay.
Unless the date is wrong that I picked up, but she was originally Taylor first.
Okay, because I remember when they picked up the storyline and brought the character of Taylor back in 2011, whatever this was. That it was Natalia Livingston.
Yes.
Who came in on the role, and she'd originally played Emily Quartermain on General Hospital, and I don't know. I just remember that was a terrible idea.
Yeah, it wasn't. Taylor has not been a lasting character over these. I actually would be interested in them bringing her back just to see, because I think she had an interesting dynamic with Nicole, especially when Brandon when he was around. But yeah, I think because of this role, we specifically got Tamara Braun now in a much more significant role as Ava Vitale. So yeah, April 26, 2011.
Yeah.
And that was...
Those were the days.
Do you all remember when the original Taylor came on, when Jensen Ackles was playing Eric?
Yes.
And she tried to turn Eric into a Bible thumper?
Yes, I do remember that. That was
like took him to Bible study. I was like, what is this?
She was they were trying so hard to make her the opposite of Nicole, and
yeah, and it
didn't work so well, but yeah.
Whenever I think of Taylor, I think of that Taylor.
That Taylor, yeah.
I mean, apparently something that she said took.
True, yeah. Well, maybe it did.
And then Eric became a priest, so maybe it took.
We have Taylor to blame. We have Taylor to blame for that.
Damn it, Taylor.
Oh, funny.
Now he's not a work photographer, LOL. Anyway.
Yeah. And next up we have...
It's a gift.
And this week's It's a Gift goes to Stephanie Johnson, who is making what will forever be known as the WTF face.
She had two moments where she gave this face this week. And I knew, I was like, it's going to be this or it's going to be Jada.
Yes. So thank you for that WTF face. I will use it very often in the coming
that's Abigail props go to Abigail Klein. Yeah.
Love you.
And that look.
Yeah. And that was
whoopsie.
It's a gift.
And next up we have
news and gossip.
And starting off news and gossip, we have some casting news that sent a sigh of relief through the soap world. Finally, we've got
shut some people up.
A little bit of relief here. We now know that Kristen Alfonso is back for a short period of time as Hope Williams Brady. She's joining everyone else we've mentioned over the last few weeks to honor her father, Doug Williams / Bill Hayes on the show. We know that this period is covering, I believe, December. We're going to get into sort of the goodbye, farewell to Doug storyline. So Kristen has been filming all of this week. I don't know if she's set to film a little bit more. Depends on how big the role is, but she filmed all of this upcoming week. And she's detailed a little bit of that on her Instagram. So go check it out. She has some videos and then this picture of her and Susan, with Bill in the background, which I think is so perfect. And sort of,
Lord,
they're watching them. Yeah.
Oh Lord.
And for those wondering, I'm crossing my arms because I want all these other people to shut up.
God. Yeah. Yes. So we're going to stay with the positive. And the positive is that Kristen Alfonso is back. Get with you. The positive is that Kristen Alfonso is back for a short period of time as Hope, and we will see her in the coming months. So yes, any other announcements that pop up, we will be sure to let you know of. So yes, find other things to occupy your rage. So yeah, in addition to casting, another casting notice, speaking of Mr. Jensen Ackles, he is actually going to be debuting on the CBS show Tracker, playing the brother of Mr. Justin Hartley. And as you can see here, the resemblance is uncanny. And these two are actually real good friends in real life. So I think that during the course of Justin's show, they've sort of brought up this brother figure sort of in passing or a name only. And I think a lot of people were focused on who are they going to get to cast as his brother. And so I think the consensus was get Jensen, just because they're real life friends. And of course, the two resemble each other.
And now they're going to get the supernatural audience.
Yes.
The supernatural fans are going to turn in. And CBS keeps their shows on forever.
They do. Yes.
These two are probably set for a few years.
And I think this was intentional. Speaking of that, Jensen is he's going to start in the Sunday, May 12th episode, which sort of caps off. They're approaching the end of their season, so I think we may see him in the following season, maybe as a recurring character, or maybe even a series regular. So we will see. We see how this goes. But yes, go check out Jensen Ackles as he guest stars on CBS Tracker, Justin Hartley's new show.
I have to say, I do love to see this because they've been friends for a long time and they both started on NBC soaps. So it's really cool to see how, and Justin Hartley is still friends with a lot of the people that he was with on Passions. I mean, he met his ex-wife on Passions, the mother of his daughter.
He came to the Day Players concert here in LA.
Right. Yeah. We were wife. So it's really cool to see how all these people that started together in the soap world, they still keep in touch.
Yes. And one more round of casting news, an interesting one. We have the lovely Serena Scott Thomas, who is coming on the show per news of by way of Days Peacock. They released this photo and a couple photos of Serena sort of on the Days stage. There's a question mark to who she is playing. Is she Xander's mom? Is she Konstantin's wife? Is she Xander's mom and Konstantin's wife? We will see. There's a question mark in the air of who she's playing, but we know that the lovely Serena Scott Thomas, you may recognize her she's just a great English actress. She's a big character actress. You've seen her. She played Princess Diana in the 93 movie, Princess of Wales. You've seen her in one of the Mission Impossible movies. You've seen her and The Hostages with Bruce Willis. She's just a really great character actress who's been around for many years. She's also a really good documentary filmmaker. So go check her out. I think this is sort of a big get for Days. Whoever, if she's playing one of those women, I think it's a big get to get someone of her caliber on the show. So we will see. But yeah, I think anytime they add really good talent, which they seem to be doing a lot these days. So yeah, fingers crossed. And we'll let you know as soon as we know who she's playing or who's been revealed. So
yeah. To those wondering when she'll air, I suspect if they're releasing it, she'll air soon.
Probably, yeah.
Yes, if the official Days Peacock socials are saying it, then I suspect soon.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, if you're living under a rock, This made big news this week on the socials that Ari Zucker did speak out on her A to Z podcast, albeit briefly, on when she believes her last air date will be, and she has stated that it will be in and around the day July 29th. So, and to quote her, she says, "And we'll see how things go after that."
Yeah.
Yes, and Ari is living her life with her fiance Sean Christian, and she also has been at the Starstruck fan event. She did make an appearance at a Starstruck fan event with some other Salemites recently. So thank you to those who attended. And if you still want to catch up with her, make sure to check out her A to Z podcast and her YouTube channel. And we miss you, Ari.
Yeah. Interesting choice of words there. So we'll see how that goes. Maybe some hope there. We'll see. Last but not least, we want to give some reminders of some fan events that are coming up that we've mentioned previously. First one we want to start with is Hot Men of Days Nashville. That one is happening September 28th through 29th that weekend. All tickets and info, you can go to eventbrite.ca. Next one is Samantha and Friends. We have the Golden Age of Hollywood. That one is happening September 14th to 15th. And the next one is the Enchantment Under the Sea. That one is happening, you don't have to go May 4th through 5th. All tickets and information, you can go to samanthafriends.org to find out. Our next one is Eric Mozart Rocks Montreal. That was June 1st. And Friends, happening at the Montreal Airport. All tickets and information go to Star Image Entertainment. And last but not least, we have our Days Unites to End ALS. This is the one where a lot of members of all 4 major soaps are sort of coming together to put on this really great benefit. It is a big, huge fan event. Everything from meet and greets to autograph appearances. All tickets and information, you can go to giveclassy.org/daytime unites for ALS. Yes, and last but not least, we have one more. Teo Penglis is doing his book signing, and is a little bit of discussion on his new book, Seducing Celebrities One Meal at a Time. Again, happening Wednesday, May 22nd, 7 p.m. here in LA at the Barnes & Noble at the Grove. And this one, reminder, this one is actually not open, but this one actually is a free event. So no cost. If you are free that night, please come down and support Teo in his new book venture.
Yay.
Yeah. Next up, we've finally gotten to the point where we are going to talk about our Dishin Days Awards nominees, and we have a little help with that.
Oh yeah, that's when I come in.
She decided to show up. Okay.
Well, I've been busy, and I am actually very behind. And so I was like, why put myself through all of this to not be able to give my full thoughts on days? So, but I could not miss us finally letting you all know who our nominees are for the 2024 Dishin Days Awards. As you guys know, each year, I had such a lovely thing written down and then I wasn't prepared for it. Here we are. All right, y'all. Each year, much like the Daytime Emmys, we like to award the dynamic storylines and actors of Days of Our Lives. And after intensely, because you guys should see the emails and discussions that we've had to make sure that we had the correct categories and nominees in place. So after reviewing all that happened in Salem in 2023, here are the official nominees for this year's 2024 Dishin Days Awards. Now, as you guys know, everything is based on all that happened in 2023, and it's all decided by you. So right after our show today, you will be able to vote as many times as you like on your favorite storylines, moments, and characters. Speaking of characters, our nominees for Best New Character. So in last year, you guys know we got some new faces and new arrivals to create some interesting storylines. And here are your nominees. We have Jasper Newman as Colin Bedford, Peter Porte as Dimitri von Luschner, Aketra Sullivan as Alia Hunter, Miss Kim Coles as Miss Whitley King, and Jamie Martin Mann as Tate Black. Now, before you guys say anything about Tate not being new, he was Soul Rose, so he's new.
Had that off at the pass.
There you are. And those are your nominees for Best New Character.
Yes, and okay. Next up, we have actually a brand new category that we are introducing this year. This one is called the Best Guest Star, and this one we wanted to sort of rejoice and sort of not nominate, but celebrate the actor or actress who comes in, whether they are an old character or a new character. They come in for a very limited amount of time and just sort of really just do a fantastic job and set things ablaze, whether they're capping off storylines or whether they're just popping in. So we decided to come up with a brand new category called Best Guest Star, and the nominees are: we have Rachel Melvin here as Chelsea Brady, we have Dick Van Dyke as Timothy Robichaux, we have Terrell Ransom Jr. as Jerry Prentice, and we have Adam Kane as Edmund Crumb. So yeah, there are your nominees for the new award, Best Guest Star.
Our next award is Best Character Return. Now, how to describe this award? The character was there, then they weren't, then they returned.
It's very simple.
And this year's Best Character Return nominees are Hope Brady, played by Christian Alfonso, Bo Brady, played by Peter Reckel, Megan DeMira, played by Miranda Wilson. Did you hear that, Miranda Wilson? Someone tell her. We love Miranda. Lonnie Grant, played by Sal Stowers, and Susan Banks, played by Stacey Hayduke.
Yay. All right. Our next category is character exit. This is, as you can tell by the description, a character who has exited. And the nominees are Emily O'Brien, who plays Gwen Wischek, Camilla Banis as Gabby Hernandez DeMira, Remington Hoffman as Li Shin, Peter Porte as Dimitri von Leuschner, and Nadia Bjorlin as Chloe Lane.
Now, before Michael, you put up the nominees, let's introduce it first. So then that way people are surprised as we read them all.
Oh, okay.
Right. For this one, yeah.
Next up, we have our
someone introduce it.
Yeah. We have Best Duo. We have a little bit of a tweak to this one that you know and love. Instead of Best Duo, we are introducing this year Best Duo/Trio. This we want to honor non-romantic couplings, two sons or three subs that have amazing chemistry and have just propelled storylines forward. And we want to nominate those duos or trios in the Best Duo/Trio category. And the nominees are.
Am I good to put up the graphic?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, be that today.
Ralph and Megan. We have Steve, John, and Roman. We have Sloan and Trask. We have the trio of Kate, Kayla, Marlena. And last but not least, we have Ava and Stefan.
Yes.
Okay.
That's your best duo or trio.
Yes. All right. Next up, we have the category of best couple. Now, to be clear, before you guys say that John Marlena wins everything, yes, John and Marlena win everything. We define best couple for the year of 2024 as a couple who became a couple in 2024 and rocked as a couple in 2024 that were prevalent this past year. I'm sorry, 2023. It's 2024 awards for the year of 2023. And this year's nominations are Nicole and EJ, Stefan and Gabby, Leo and Dimitri, Chloe and Xander, and Rafe and Jada. These are your nominees for Best Couple.
All right. Our next award is, I believe, a new award for us because something we saw in 2023 were familiar faces coming back with different names, essentially, which led to us forming this award, Best Dual Role Performer.
Say that
will go to a performer. Can't do it. Can't even say it once. This will go to an actor or actress who has portrayed two different characters in the year 2023. And the nominees are Emily O'Brien, who played Gwen Rizchek and Teresa Donovan, Robert Scott Wilson, who played Alex Kyriakis and Ben Weston, Blake Barris, who played evil, dead Satan Nick Fallon, and Everett/Bobby, who I believe Bobby didn't come into play till 2023, so he's just nominated for Everett. And then Stacey Hayduke once again for Kristen and Susan Banks.
All right. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I always feel like this is our biggest category, which is the most shocking moment. Now, this is a moment that made us gasp, jaw drop, yell, say, "Oh my God," or give a snap to. Here are the most shocking moments on Days of Our Lives in 2023. We have Sean shoots bow. Everyone is alive. Abe is kidnapped. Talia tainted the biscuits. Sloan and Trask take Nicole's baby. And Xander is Victor's son. Now, before y'all say Xander is not Victor's son, when we found out that he was. And those are your most shocking moments on Days of Our Lives in 2023. All right, you guys, at the end of this show, just a reminder, you will be able to vote for your favorite storylines, actors, as many times as you like, but you only have until next Sunday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to lock in your votes. And to find out who won, make sure you tune in to the Dishin Days Award in June. We don't have a date yet because we're always working on stuff. But just know it's coming in June. The link to how to vote will be on all of our social media platforms. So make sure you check that out. Dishin Days Show on Facebook, Dishin Days on Instagram, X, and Threads. As a matter of fact, when I click off, I'm going to start posting everything. So make sure you take a look. I feel like there was something else I was supposed. Oh, yeah. And we will be giving away our own individual awards as well as our We See You award, which goes to those who are not seen and sometimes not heard, but still make quite an impact on our favorite soap opera, Days of Our Lives. And those will be awarded in June. We'll also have the best Kodak moment based on our Caption That, brought to you by Michael Mattis. We'll also have our Snaps for Life, which is the 3 Snaps Award, brought to you by moi. We'll also have the most gifable character based on It's a Gift from Araceli. And of course, Oh What a Day, based on Those Were the Days, brought to you by Justin Lee Hareld. So stay tuned for all of that. It's always a fun little, I don't have any of those apps. Mom, I will explain to you.
We'll record your vote, Mama Moore. Don't worry.
She's probably going to tell me, vote for these people.
Your voice will be heard.
Yes. And we want your voice to be heard. So right after the show ends, make sure you head over to our, yes, it is a Google form, and lock in your votes. Again, you can vote as many times as you like. Just don't get crazy. Well, this has been fun, y'all. Thank you for letting me pop in and do the nominations for our Dishin Days Awards. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. Thanks for making time.
Well, you know, I carved out some time, but I do miss you guys. I do need to catch up on days. Next week is some interesting stuff happening.
Next week, I think they're building up to next week. I think next week will be a solid week. So.
Oh, are they building up to next week? Well, before I go, let me introduce y'all to what's happening next on Days of Our Lives. I'm out.
What's my mission?
It's radiation poisoning. My daughter is sick because of me.
Your son didn't die. He is alive. I swear it is the truth.
Not God.
That is not your baby.
lying.
I swear, whenever they have Dan yell and scream, it is so like terrifying.
You feel it in your soul.
You do. He's so good at that.
Yeah.
Oh my god. So we're actually getting some progression next week. Like stuff is really happening.
That promo was reminiscent of the promo when all of Sammy's schemes were revealed in '96, and Mary slapped her across the face, and Austin like started screaming at her. And I remember my mom watching it and was like, "That's the most acting I've seen Austin Peck do since he's been on the show." Just in that promo, that's what that reminded me of.
Oh yes. So yes, that's our show, everyone. Can't wait to see. Thanks for joining us here on Dishin Days. And before we go, want to let you know where you can find us. You can find us on Dishin Days Show on Facebook, at Dishin Days on Instagram, and Dishin Days on X and Threads. You can find Michael on.
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at MLMattis. You
can find me on Instagram at Justin Lee Hareld. You can find
me, Araceli, on Instagram and Twitter at Tia323 Araceli.
You can find Tony on all social media everywhere at Lounging with Tony. And
again,
find all the things again. Dishin Days Show on Facebook, and Dishin Days on Instagram, and Dishin Days on X and Threads, where you can also find out the link to vote for the Dishin Days nominees. You have, again, 1 week to do that. You can vote as many times as you'd like. Go check them out. Vote for your favorites, who you want to see represented and awarded for our 2024 Dishin Days Awards.
All right.
Yeah, that's our show, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We will see you next week, where we will give you a full dish of
Dan's yelling.
Yes. What?
Dan's yelling.
Yes. Dan's yelling all week of Peacock's #1 award-winning soap opera Days of Our Lives. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Go vote. Go vote.
Go vote.
See you next week.